Okay, we're going to make a gown, surgical gown, which is part of this PPE we're hearing a lot about, personal protective equipment for our front lines on this coronavirus outbreak. It's really important that our people have these things to protect them while they're working in and around this virus and any other germs that they may encounter when they're dealing with patients. So one of the big things about these garments, first of all, they're super simple to make. They are basically one big block and with just a couple of seams, and we're going to go through the whole thing. Right off the bat, one of the big things is what materials you use. So just think that you don't want any germs getting through there or microbes that are tiny, tiny, tiny. So any unnecessary holes, any unnecessary needle holes, you don't want those, okay? What you want is something that's non-woven material that has water-resistant capability. Doesn't have to be waterproof. And we are using this stuff. It's 100% polypropylene. It has a craft quality. There's also a front and back to it. It's a little heavier and stiffer than some of the other garments. I'll show you. This is a protective gown that I took apart, and it is much more tissue-like, much thinner and lighter weight. And now that we're going into the warmer months, I think that that's going to be important. But we will take what we can get. As we go forward, we'll come up with new ideas on what kind of materials we can use. So the trick on this whole thing is really more about using the right material and just having the space to lay this out. So the pieces are giant. I did patterns for a medium, but what I realized is you really don't need patterns as much as you just need to know the sizes to cut, and I will put that together on a piece of paper and we will include that in this video. But today we'll cut out and we'll make a size medium. So this is the sleeve on the size medium. And I have it laid out here. Obviously you want to, try to make as much of your material as you can. So this is the medium sleeve, and it is, I will tell you, 19.5 in width by 20.5 in length. Okay, but don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good in this case. Make it 20 by 20, whatever's easiest for you. So I'm going to give you specific numbers. You make it, how you can make it. Then the width of the gown, so these are all one big giant piece with two sleeves. The width of the gown is 51 inches and the length is 44 inches for the medium-sized gown. So this material is 30 inches wide, doubled, so it's actually a 60-inch wide material, which is good for this until you get to the extra large, and then you have to cut it differently. So I'm laying out my sleeve like that, and then I'm laying out my other garment, the main part of the garment, 51 by 44. So this is 30 inches wide, so I can do 26 inches here and 44 inches long. So I have already measured this out a little bit here, so I know where I'm cutting there. And 44 inches long is here. So all I have to do is line that up and cut and I have to draw lines. Some of you may be able to do it without that, but not I. So we'll go down here, and I'm just using a regular yardstick for this, and this is just an L if you have that. If you don't worry about it. And we are going, what did I say, 25.5 long. Now you're going to have some extra here, which is great because we also need ties to put on this thing, which I'll show you in a minute. And so let's just cut this. Good. Now we're cutting 2-ply, so make sure it doesn't move on you. If you need, you know, I'm trying not to use any pins because I don't want to make any unnecessary holes, but if you need to, go ahead. Scissors, obviously, just as good here. And we'll cut out these big pieces. Okay, so I've gotten the medium size laid out and I'm going to cut it. I had some extra width here from the gown, and I'm just going to use that to cut these 1-inch strips. Now this is the main body of your gown, which you can see is a large piece. Okay, so now we have the gown folded into quarters. So it's doubled to begin with, and we doubled it again. And the open end is toward us, and the center, the crease in the front is toward us. So on all these gowns, you just go 5 inches in from this edge and make your mark. And then this is the back of the collar right here. And that is 1 inch below where it is now. Inside will be the front of the collar. That's, you know, you can make it whatever you really want, but generally 3.5, 4 inches on that. And then this is the shoulder. And for the medium, the shoulder is 1.5 inches down from the high mark here. So I have just drawn a line there. That's where I'm going to cut. This is the shoulder, and this is where you will cut the armholes where you'll attach the sleeves. And on the medium, again, and I'll give you all these dimensions, it is the width, it's half of the width of the sleeve. So in this case, that's 9.5 inches. So this will go on here like so. So just for the back neck, I just use one of these. If you don't have one of these, this is called a styling design ruler, which is very handy. But if you don't have one, you can just eyeball it. It's not that important. Just make a curve. That's my curve for the back collar and my curve for the front collar. And then we just cut these. The makings of your gown. They are giant. And we'll go into the sewing. Now we're sewing, and this is Annabelle sewing. She is a professional seamstress, but you don't have to be a professional seamstress to do this. It's pretty straightforward. So she's starting just serging the sleeves onto the body. So we have a long, it's about a 4.5 foot inch wide strip that we've cut when we cut the fabrics, and we're just doubling it over the collar, around the collar. So the ends of the sleeve need to be tight around a wrist because the medical personnel have to put gloves on over these, so they want them tighter at the wrist. We're just using everyday common rubber bands to make that happen, which seem to be just as good as anything else you could do. Approximately 1 inch strip for the waist, and that's about, oh, you can make it 6 or 7 feet long. So this is the last part. We just want to fold this nicely and put it in a bag so that the end user can really figure out what they've got. And we put a size label on this, but I don't think it's necessary. Just make sure that, you know, they know what they're getting, so you can either mark the bag or just write on here and with magic marker, anything like that. This is a medium, and I'm gonna bag it, tag it, and we are done.